Everything you're experiencing right now, your relationships, your bank account, your health, your happiness, is not happening to you, it's happening through you. Your subconscious mind is a faithful servant, perfectly creating the reality that matches the beliefs stored within it. And if you don't like what you're seeing in your life, I can tell you with absolute certainty there's a loop running in your subconscious that's creating it. Change the loop, and you change your life. It's that simple. It's that powerful. And it's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do right now. You see, most people live their entire lives never understanding this fundamental truth. They wake up each morning hoping today will be different, trying harder, pushing more, setting new goals, making promises to themselves. And yet, by the end of the day, by the end of the week, by the end of the year, they find themselves in exactly the same place, the same struggles, the same disappointments, the same feeling of being stuck in a reality they don't want but can't seem to escape. And they begin to believe that this is just who they are, that this is their fate, their destiny, their lot in life. But I'm here to tell you that this is absolutely not true. My friend, I want you to understand something that most people never realize in their entire lifetime. You have been trying to change your life from the outside. You've been working harder, setting new goals, making resolutions, reading books, attending seminars, trying new strategies, new techniques, new approaches, and yet somehow, the same patterns keep showing up. The same financial struggles where you work and work but never seem to get ahead. The same relationship problems where you attract the same type of person with different faces. The same feelings of not being enough, of somehow falling short, of watching others succeed while you stay stuck. And you've probably wondered, what's wrong with me? Why can't I break through? Why do I keep ending up in the same place no matter how hard I try? Why does everyone else seem to have the secret while I'm still struggling? And here's what makes it even more painful. You're not lazy, you're not stupid, you're not lacking in desire or motivation. In fact, you've probably tried harder than most people. You've read the books, listened to the teachers, followed the advice, you've set goals and made plans, you've visualized and affirmed, you've worked on your mindset, and still the same reality keeps showing up. It's exhausting, it's discouraging, and after a while you start to wonder if maybe this is just how it's supposed to be for you. Maybe you're the exception to the rule. Maybe you're just not meant to have what others have. But let me stop you right there, because none of that is true. What's true is this. Let me tell you what's really happening, and I want you to listen carefully because this is going to change how you see everything. You are living in a subconscious loop, and until you understand how this loop works, and more importantly, how to reprogram it, nothing in your outer world will change permanently. You might have temporary victories, brief moments of success, times when things seem to be turning around, but then something happens. The money disappears. The relationship falls apart. The opportunity slips away. The old pattern reasserts itself and pulls you back to where you started, and you wonder, why does this keep happening to me? Here's why. The pattern isn't out there in the world. The pattern is in here, in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is running a program, a recording, that was installed years ago, often when you were a young child. And that program is creating your reality automatically, day after day, without your conscious awareness. It's like having a thermostat set to a certain temperature. You can open the windows to cool the room down, but the thermostat will just kick the heat back on to return to the set temperature. You can try all sorts of external changes, but if the internal setting doesn't change, you'll always end up back at the same place. And here's what most people don't understand about this loop. It's not just about your thoughts. It's deeper than that. It's about beliefs that have been impressed upon your subconscious mind with such emotional intensity, such repetition, such authority, that they became your operating system. They became the lens through which you see reality, the filter through which you experience life, and the mechanism through which you create your future. These beliefs are so deep, so automatic, so much a part of how you function, that you don't even recognize them as beliefs anymore. They just feel like reality. They feel like truth. They feel like the way things are. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You've heard about the subconscious before. You've heard about positive thinking and affirmations. But I'm going to tell you something that goes much deeper than any of that. I'm going to show you the actual mechanism, the precise way your subconscious mind creates your reality, why it keeps repeating the same patterns, and exactly how to change it. This isn't theory. This isn't philosophy. This is practical, applicable wisdom that has transformed thousands of lives, including my own. By the time we finish this conversation today, you will understand exactly why your reality has been repeating. You'll see the loops that have been running in your own life. You'll recognize where they came from, how they were formed, and most importantly, you'll have specific, practical techniques to rewrite them permanently. You won't need expensive programs. You won't need years of therapy. You'll simply need to understand the principles I'm about to share with you and apply them consistently. Because your subconscious mind is the most powerful tool you have, and once you learn to work with it instead of against it, everything changes. I want to speak to your pain for a moment, and I want you to know that I see you. I see how tired you are, not just physically tired, but tired in your soul. Tired of trying so hard and getting the same results, tired of hoping things will change and watching them stay the same, tired of feeling like there's some invisible force working against you, some invisible wall you keep hitting no matter which direction you turn, tired of the gap between what you want and what you actually have, between who you know you could be and who you're actually being, between the life you dream about and the life you're living. I know you've had moments where you thought you were finally breaking through, where something good happened, where an opportunity appeared, where you felt hopeful and excited, and then somehow, some way it fell apart. The job didn't work out. The relationship ended. The money disappeared. The health problem returned. And you felt not just disappointed, but confused. Because you did everything right. You worked hard, you stayed positive, you followed the advice. And still, the old pattern won. And after this happens enough times, something even worse sets in. You start to lose faith. Not just in the process, not just in the teachers and the techniques, but in yourself. You start to wonder if maybe you're the problem. Maybe you're just not capable. Maybe you're not worthy. Maybe you're not meant to have what others have. And this belief, this doubt, becomes another loop, another layer of programming that makes everything even harder. I see you comparing yourself to others, watching people who seem to have it easier, who seem to succeed effortlessly, who seem to have some secret you don't have access to. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why does it work for them but not for me? Why do they get to have loving relationships while mine keep failing? Why do they get to have financial abundance while I struggle? Why do they get to feel confident and worthy while I feel anxious and inadequate? And these questions, my friend, they eat away at you. They create more doubt, more pain, more feeling of being fundamentally broken or cursed or just unlucky. But here's what I need you to hear. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are not being punished by God or the universe or fate. You are not the exception to the rule. And you are not lacking in any essential quality that others possess. What you are is operating with programming that was installed in your subconscious mind years ago, often when you were a child and had no conscious choice in the matter. Programming that came from experiences you didn't ask for, from words spoken by people who had their own wounds and fears, from conclusions you drew with a child's limited understanding of how the world works. And here's the beautiful truth that I want you to hold on to as we go deeper into this teaching, that programming can be changed. Not someday, not after years of therapy or struggle, but starting right now, today, in this very moment. Because the same laws that created the old programming can create new programming. The same subconscious mind that has been faithfully creating your current reality can just as faithfully create a completely different reality once it receives new instructions. Most people go through life never understanding this. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. They blame bad luck or genetics or the economy or their childhood or their ex-partner or their boss or the government. And while those things may play a role, while they may create challenges and obstacles, they are not the fundamental cause of your repeating reality. The fundamental cause is the beliefs impressed upon your subconscious mind and the automatic patterns those beliefs create. Change the beliefs, and the patterns change. Change the patterns, and your reality changes. It really is that direct. It really is that powerful, and it really is that available to you right now. Now, I've spent decades studying the mind. I've worked with people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all circumstances, rich people and poor people, educated people and uneducated people, young people and old people, people with advantages and people with every disadvantage you can imagine. And I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The principles I'm about to share with you work. They work for everyone. They work regardless of your age, your history, your current situation, your past failures, your mistakes, your regrets, because these are not my principles. These are spiritual and mental laws that govern how reality is created. I'm simply helping you understand them and apply them. I'm not here to pump you up with temporary motivation that feels good for an hour and fades by tomorrow. I'm not here to give you a quick fix or a magic pill or some secret shortcut. I'm here to give you understanding. Real, deep, transformative understanding of how your mind works, how your subconscious creates your reality moment by moment, and how you can deliberately and permanently reprogram it to create the life you truly desire. This is about lasting transformation, not temporary inspiration. This is about fundamental change at the level where change actually matters. So let me ask you to do something right now. Let go of the idea that you need to be different than you are. Let go of the judgment you've been carrying about yourself, the criticism, the shame, the feeling that you should be further along than you are. You are not the problem. You never were the problem. The programming is the problem, and programming can be changed. You are not defending your true self when you resist change. You're defending a false identity that was created by circumstances you didn't choose, by other people's opinions and projections, by painful experiences that taught you to believe things about yourself that simply aren't true. Your true self is infinite possibility. Your true self is the creative power of the universe expressing through you, unlimited and free, and that true self is about to be set free. Now, before I explain the mechanics of how the subconscious loop works, I want you to see this principle in action through real experiences, because understanding isn't just intellectual, it's emotional, it's visceral. When you feel the truth of these principles through real stories, when you recognize yourself in the experiences of others, your subconscious begins to accept these truths. Your resistance softens, your defenses lower, and the teaching can go deeper. Let me tell you about a man I once worked with. I'll call him James. James was a successful businessman by any external measure. He had intelligence, natural charisma, the ability to see opportunities where others saw obstacles. He could start a business from nothing and build it into something profitable. He had done this multiple times. But here's what was fascinating, and here's why James came to me in the first place. Every single time James made significant money, he lost it. And I don't mean gradually over time. I mean suddenly, dramatically, inexplicably. One time, a business partner he trusted completely embezzled from him, taking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Another time, he made an investment that he consciously knew was too risky, but he did it anyway and lost everything. Another time, unexpected expenses appeared out of nowhere, one after another, and wiped out his savings in a matter of months. It was like clockwork. Money came in, money went out. Build it up, lose it all, success, then failure, over and over again. And James came to me frustrated, angry, and deeply confused. He said, "Dr. Murphy, I know how to make money. I'm good at business. I understand how wealth is created, but I cannot keep it. It's like there's a hole in my pocket and everything drains away no matter what I do." And he had tried everything. He'd hired financial advisors. He'd read books on money management. He'd been more careful with his investments. He tried to protect himself from untrustworthy people. But still, the pattern continued. Make money, lose money. Make money, lose money. And he was exhausted. He was starting to believe that maybe he just wasn't meant to be wealthy. So I began asking him questions. Not about his business strategies or his financial knowledge or his money management skills. I asked him about his childhood, about his earliest memories of money, about what his parents taught him, directly and indirectly, about wealth. And at first James didn't see the connection. He said, "What does my childhood have to do with my current business problems?" But I asked him to trust me and answer the questions. And as we talked, something emerged. James told me that his father had been a factory worker, a union man, a hard-working person who never had much but was proud of his integrity. And his father had very strong opinions about wealthy people. James remembered sitting at the dinner table, listening to his father complain about the rich. The rich get rich by exploiting the poor, his father would say. Anyone with money has probably cheated someone to get it. Rich people are greedy, selfish. They don't care about anyone but themselves. If you have money, while others are struggling, you should be ashamed. James heard these messages not once or twice, but constantly throughout his childhood. It was his father's fundamental worldview, and young James, sitting there at that dinner table, loved his father, respected his father, wanted his father's approval more than anything in the world, and in his child mind, a simple equation formed: rich people equal bad people, good people equal poor or working class people. And since he wanted to be good, since he wanted his father to be proud of him, since he loved his father and wanted to be like him, he concluded, if I become wealthy, I become what my father hated. I become a bad person. I become the enemy. I lose my father's approval. I betray everything he stood for. Now, consciously, as an adult, James didn't believe this. He could tell you intellectually that wealth isn't evil, that rich people aren't all greedy, that you can be both prosperous and moral, but that conscious understanding didn't matter, because the belief that was impressed upon his subconscious mind as a child, impressed with tremendous emotional intensity because it came from his father whom he loved, that belief was still running the show. It had become his operating instruction. It was the thermostat setting for his financial reality. So here's what happened. James's conscious mind wanted wealth. He worked for it. He created it. He pursued it. But his subconscious mind had a different program running underneath. And the subconscious always wins when there's a conflict between conscious desire and subconscious belief. Always. His subconscious said, wealth makes you bad, and we cannot be bad. We cannot betray Father's values. We cannot become the kind of person Father despised, so we must get rid of this money. We must sabotage this success. We must return to the level that feels safe, that feels moral, that feels aligned with who we're supposed to be. And sure enough, every time money accumulated, every time wealth began to build, his subconscious found a way to eliminate it, not consciously. James wasn't sitting there thinking I should sabotage myself now. It was automatic. It was the loop running in the background without his awareness. His subconscious would create what seemed like external circumstances. The untrustworthy partner. The risky investment that consciously he knew was wrong but subconsciously he was compelled to make. The unexpected expenses. All of these were his subconscious mind faithfully following its programming. Get rid of the money. Stay safe. Stay good. Stay aligned with Father's values. When James saw this, when he understood that his financial pattern wasn't about bad luck or poor judgment or being targeted by the universe, but about a childhood belief still controlling his adult life, everything began to shift. He could see the loop clearly for the first time. He could see how his subconscious had been trying to protect him, trying to keep him good in his father's eyes, trying to prevent him from becoming the kind of person his father had taught him to despise. The sabotage wasn't punishment. It was misguided protection. And once he saw this, we could begin the work of reprogramming. We impressed upon his subconscious a new belief. Wealth is good when used for good purposes. Wealth allows me to help others, to create jobs, to support my family, to contribute to causes I believe in. I can be both prosperous and generous. I can honor my father's values of integrity and kindness while also creating abundance. Having money doesn't make me greedy. What I do with money reveals my character, and I choose to use wealth in ways that serve and uplift others. We repeated this new belief evening after evening in the drowsy state before sleep. We impressed it with feeling and conviction. And gradually, over weeks and months, James noticed changes. First in his thoughts, the automatic guilt when money came in began to fade. Then in his decisions, he stopped making inexplicably poor choices with his investments. He stopped trusting the wrong people. He started making financial decisions from wisdom rather than subconscious sabotage. And then in his results, within 6 months, James not only accumulated wealth, but kept it. The loop was broken. The subconscious had new instructions, and his external reality shifted to match. The last time I heard from James, several years later, he had built substantial wealth and was using much of it for charitable purposes. He told me something beautiful. He said, Dr. Murphy, I finally understand what my father really wanted. He didn't want me to be poor. He wanted me to be a good man. And now I can be both wealthy and good. The old loop made me think I had to choose, but the truth is, I can honor my father's true values while also creating abundance. You see, my friend, your subconscious mind doesn't care if a belief is good for you or destroying you. It doesn't reason. it doesn't judge. It simply creates the reality that matches the belief. James's subconscious was actually trying to help him. It thought it was keeping him good, keeping him safe from becoming someone his father would despise, but in doing so, it was creating the very suffering he wanted to escape. This is the subconscious loop. This is how it works. The intention might even be protective, but the result is limitation and pain. Now let me tell you about a woman I'll call Sarah. Sarah was intelligent, successful in her career, attractive, and deeply desired a loving, committed relationship. But every single man she fell for, and I mean every single one, was unavailable in some significant way. Emotionally distant men who couldn't express feelings. Men who were married or seriously involved with someone else. Men who clearly stated from the beginning that they didn't want commitment or were only interested in casual relationships. Men who lived in other countries or were always traveling for work. Men who were emotionally wounded and unavailable for real intimacy. The details varied, but the pattern was always the same: unavailable. And Sarah couldn't understand it. She would come to me and say, "Dr. Murphy, I want love, I want a real partnership, I want someone who's present and available and ready for commitment. But I keep choosing men who can't give me that. Or maybe they're choosing me. I don't even know anymore. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this?" And here's what made it even more painful for Sarah. She could see the pattern. She wasn't blind to it. After each relationship ended, she would promise herself that next time would be different. Next time she would choose someone available. She'd even start dating someone who seemed available, someone who said the right things, who seemed ready for commitment. But within weeks, or months, it would emerge that he wasn't really available after all. There was always something. An ex he wasn't over. A fear of commitment that hadn't been obvious at first. A workaholic tendency that meant he was never really present. It was like she had a homing beacon that only attracted unavailable men. So I asked her about her childhood, about her parents' relationship, and Sarah's face changed immediately. She knew exactly where this was going. She told me that her mother had spent Sarah's entire childhood longing for her father. Her father was present physically. He lived in the home. He came to dinner every night, but he was absent emotionally. He was cold, distant, always preoccupied with work or reading the newspaper or watching television. He rarely spoke to Sarah's mother. He showed no affection. He never asked about her day or her feelings or her dreams. Sarah's mother would try to connect with him, would try to get his attention, would try to create intimacy, and he would just shut down or walk away or respond with irritation. And Sarah, as a young girl, watched this dynamic play out every single day for 18 years. She watched her mother yearn for her father's attention. She watched her mother wait by the window for him to come home, hoping today would be different. She watched her mother cry late at night when she thought no one could hear. She watched her mother's entire emotional life revolve around trying to get love from someone who couldn't or wouldn't give it. And she watched her father remain distant, unmoved, unavailable year after year. And in Sarah's young mind a deep imprint was made, not through words, but through observation and emotion. Her subconscious mind, watching this relationship that her mother called love, recorded a template. This is what love looks like. Love is longing. Love is reaching for someone who's just out of reach. Love is waiting. Love is hoping. Love is yearning for attention that rarely comes. This feeling, this dynamic, this emotional experience became her subconscious definition of romantic love. Now, consciously as an adult, Sarah knew this wasn't healthy. She could tell you that real love should be mutual, available, reciprocal. She could describe what she wanted: presence, communication, emotional availability, commitment. But that conscious knowledge didn't matter when it came to who she was attracted to. Because attraction isn't conscious. Attraction is subconscious. And her subconscious was looking for the feeling it knew as love. The feeling of longing for someone unavailable. So what happened is this. When Sarah met an emotionally available man, a man who was present and interested and ready for commitment, he felt wrong to her. Not consciously wrong. She couldn't have told you why. He would seem perfect on paper. But there was no spark, no chemistry, no deep attraction. Why? Because he didn't match the template. He didn't create the feeling her subconscious associated with love. Available men felt boring, unexciting, maybe even suffocating. But unavailable men, men who were distant, or complicated or clearly unable to commit, those men felt right. Those men created the familiar feeling. Those men matched the template. Being with them felt like love because it recreated the emotional dynamic she'd observed for 18 years. And here's the cruelest part of the loop. Every time Sarah chased an unavailable man, every time she tried to get him to open up or commit or be present, she was unconsciously trying to win what her mother never won. She was trying to finally get the unavailable man to choose her, to love her, to become available. If she could just do it right, if she could just be good enough, maybe this one would be different. And of course it never was. Because she was choosing men who were unavailable for their own reasons, men who had their own wounds and patterns, and the relationship would end with Sarah feeling exactly how her mother felt. Not enough, not worthy, abandoned by the person she loved. But once Sarah understood this, once she saw the connection between her childhood imprint and her adult attraction patterns, everything began to shift. She understood that her subconscious wasn't trying to hurt her. It was trying to experience what it knew as love. It was trying to recreate the familiar dynamic. And it was also, on some level, trying to heal the past by finally winning what her mother never won. But it was using a strategy that could never work. We worked on reprogramming her subconscious. We impressed upon it a new definition of love. Real love is presence, not absence. Real love is freely given, not withheld. Real love feels peaceful and secure, not anxious and painful. Love that requires constant chasing isn't love. Love that makes me feel not enough isn't love. True love feels safe, available, mutual, and nourishing. And I deserve this kind of love. I am worthy of someone who chooses me fully and freely. Sarah repeated these truths to her subconscious every night before sleep. She felt them deeply. She imagined what this kind of love would feel like in her body. And as this new belief took root, something remarkable happened. Her attractions began to shift. Men who were unavailable stopped seeming so interesting. The spark she used to feel for them diminished. And men who were available, men she would have dismissed as boring before, began to seem more attractive. The chemistry followed the new belief. Within 4 months, Sarah met a man who was emotionally healthy, available, and genuinely interested in commitment. And for the first time in her life, this felt right. Not because the relationship was perfect or without challenges, but because it matched her new programming. She told me later the strangest thing was that this relationship felt unfamiliar at first. I had to learn how to receive love that was freely given. I had to learn that peace and security are what love should feel like, not anxiety and longing. It took time to adjust to available love. But once I did, I couldn't believe I had settled for anything less. This, my friend, is the power of understanding and reprogramming the subconscious loop. Sarah didn't need to work harder at dating. She didn't need new techniques for meeting men or playing games to keep their interest. She needed to change the subconscious belief that was directing her choices at the deepest level. And once that belief changed, her external reality changed naturally, automatically, without force. Let me give you another example, because I want you to see how this plays out in different areas of life. A young man I'll call Michael. Michael was talented. He had abilities, intelligence, and opportunities. People saw his potential. He was offered good jobs, admitted to prestigious schools, presented with business opportunities. But he could never finish anything. And I mean anything. He'd start a job with great enthusiasm, genuine excitement about the work and the possibilities. He'd work hard, show up early, go above and beyond. His bosses would notice. They'd talk about promotion, about leadership opportunities, about his bright future with the company. And then, just when success was within reach, something would happen. Michael would make a serious mistake, or he'd stop showing up, or he'd get into conflicts with coworkers, or he'd just quit suddenly with no other job lined up, even when it made no logical sense. The same pattern played out in his education. He'd start college, excel in his classes, impress his professors. Then in the final semester, he'd stop attending, stop turning in assignments, and drop out. He did this 3 times at 3 different schools, always the same pattern. Strong start, building momentum, approaching completion, then self-destruction right before the finish line. He tried to start businesses. He'd have good ideas, create business plans, begin implementing them. He'd get initial customers, start making money, build momentum, and then he'd sabotage it. He'd miss important meetings with potential investors. He'd make impulsive decisions that hurt the business. He'd just lose interest suddenly and let everything fall apart. And this pattern had followed Michael his entire adult life. He was now 30 years old and had a resume full of unfinished projects, abandoned opportunities, and unfulfilled potential. And he came to me not understanding why he did this. He said, "Dr. Murphy, I want to succeed. I'm not lazy. I'm capable of hard work. I know I have potential. But every time I get close to actually achieving something, I destroy it. It's like I pull the rug out from under myself. I sabotage my own success. And I don't know why. I don't understand what's wrong with me." So we looked at his childhood, as we always do. And Michael told me about his family structure. He was the younger of two brothers. His older brother had been the achiever in the family, the golden child, the success story. His brother had excelled in school, been the star athlete, gotten into a top university, made the family proud. And Michael remembered feeling like he could never measure up, like he would always be in his brother's shadow. But here's what was most significant. When Michael's brother graduated high school and left for college, everything in Michael's family changed. And not for the better. His parents, who had stayed together for the kids, who had been unhappy but functioning, finally fell apart. They filed for divorce within months of his brother leaving. The family home was sold. Michael, who was 10 years old at the time, moved with his mother to a small apartment in a different town. He left his school, his friends, his neighborhood, everything he knew. His father, feeling guilty about the divorce, threw himself into work and became largely absent from Michael's life. The family, as Michael knew it, completely disintegrated. And in his 10-year-old mind, Michael made a connection. A false connection, but to a child's logic it made perfect sense. When people succeed and leave, the family breaks apart. When someone achieves and moves on, everything stable and secure disappears. Success equals loss. Achievement equals abandonment. His brother succeeded, his brother left, and the family fell apart. The causal connection seemed clear to young Michael's mind. So Michael's subconscious, trying to protect him, developed a strategy. Don't succeed. Don't achieve. Don't reach the point where you might leave or others might leave or stability might be threatened. Stay in the middle. Start things but don't finish them. Show potential but never fulfill it. Why? Because the subconscious had learned that completion leads to departure, and departure leads to loss of everything that matters. Better to fail safely than to succeed and lose your foundation. And for 20 years, that strategy played out perfectly. Every time Michael approached success, every time he neared completion of something significant, his subconscious activated the protection mechanism. It created anxiety, doubt, and self-sabotaging behaviors. It whispered, "If you succeed, you'll have to leave, and if you leave, everything will fall apart, and you'll be alone. Better to fail now, while you still have some control over it, than to succeed and face the consequences." The subconscious didn't recognize that Michael was now an adult, not a 10-year-old child. It didn't recognize that his success wouldn't cause his family to fall apart because that had already happened for entirely different reasons. It didn't recognize that achievement doesn't equal abandonment, that he could succeed and still maintain his relationships and connections. The subconscious was still operating on 10-year-old logic, still trying to protect 10-year-old Michael from a threat that no longer existed. Once Michael understood this, once he saw that his self-sabotage wasn't weakness or character failure but his subconscious trying to protect him based on childhood conclusions, everything shifted. He could look at his pattern with compassion instead of judgment. He could thank his subconscious for trying to keep him safe, even while recognizing that the strategy was no longer serving him. We worked on reprogramming. Michael impressed upon his subconscious new truths. I am safe to succeed. Success doesn't mean abandonment. I can achieve and still be connected to the people I love. My achievement strengthens my relationships, rather than threatening them. I am allowed to complete things. I am allowed to fulfill my potential. My success doesn't hurt anyone. My success doesn't require me to leave anyone behind. I can succeed and stay connected. He repeated these truths with deep feeling night after night, allowing them to sink into his subconscious mind, and gradually, the sabotage pattern began to weaken. The anxiety that used to overwhelm him when he approached completion became manageable. The urge to quit before finishing started to fade. For the first time in his life, Michael was able to override the old impulse. He enrolled in school again, and this time, even when the old fear arose in the final semester, he pushed through. He completed his degree at age 32, and something beautiful happened. His family relationships didn't fall apart. In fact, they became stronger. His mother was proud. His father, who had been distant, reached out to congratulate him. His brother, far from being threatened, was genuinely happy for him. Michael's success brought his family together rather than tearing them apart, proving that the childhood belief had been false all along. Michael told me later something that I've never forgotten. He said, "The subconscious is like a loyal dog who learned one time that you get hurt when you go near a certain place, and from then on, the dog does everything it can to prevent you from going there. It's not trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you. But it's protecting you from a danger that doesn't exist anymore. Once you understand that, you can retrain the dog. You can show it that the danger has passed, that it's safe to move forward now." Do you see the pattern in these stories, my friend? Do you see how the conscious mind wants one thing while the subconscious creates another? Do you see how the subconscious is not your enemy but a faithful servant, following instructions it received years ago, trying to protect you based on childhood logic, creating patterns that made sense once but now only create suffering? This is what I mean by the loop. Your subconscious has a recording. That recording plays automatically beneath your awareness. It creates automatic thoughts, which create feelings, which drive actions, which produce results, and those results confirm the original belief. Round and round it goes, creating the same reality over and over and over again, while you consciously wonder why nothing ever changes. Now let me share something personal with you, because I want you to understand that even those who teach these principles, even those who study and work with the subconscious mind professionally, can still be caught in loops. For many years, I struggled with recurring health issues. Nothing life-threatening, but persistent. Digestive problems, fatigue, minor ailments that would resolve for a while and then return. And I prayed. I used the very principles I taught others. I sought medical treatment. I tried different diets and health practices. And yet, these issues kept returning in cycles. And I began to wonder, why am I creating this? What belief is driving this pattern? Because I knew enough to know that my outer condition reflected my inner state, that my body was responding to beliefs held in my subconscious. But what belief? I couldn't see it. I examined my thoughts about health. I checked for fears about illness. I looked for childhood experiences around sickness. Nothing obvious appeared. And then, during a period of deep meditation and self-examination, I discovered it. Deep in my subconscious, buried beneath layers of other beliefs, was something I hadn't consciously recognized. A belief formed in my early religious training. The belief that suffering proves devotion. That difficulty demonstrates the sincerity of your faith. That ease and comfort might mean you're not serious about spiritual life. That you're taking the path of least resistance. That you're spiritually lazy or complacent. And my subconscious, trying to prove my spiritual worthiness, trying to demonstrate that I was serious and devoted, kept creating just enough physical challenge to show that I wasn't taking the easy path. It was humbling to discover this in myself. Here I was, teaching others about subconscious programming, and I had my own loop running that I hadn't even seen. But it was also liberating, because once I saw it, once I brought it into conscious awareness, I could begin to reprogram it. I could speak to my subconscious with new truth. I impressed upon my subconscious mind a different understanding. God does not require suffering as proof of faith. The divine doesn't need me to be in pain to believe I'm devoted. Divine love is freely given, and I can freely receive it. Perfect health is my natural state, not because I've earned it through difficulty, but because it's my birthright as an expression of divine life. Ease and well-being don't mean I'm spiritually lazy. They mean I'm aligned with the natural flow of divine love. My body is a temple, and temples should be strong and healthy, not perpetually struggling. I repeated these truths to myself with deep conviction, with feeling, allowing them to sink into my subconscious. And as that new belief took root, as it replaced the old programming, something remarkable happened. My health issues began to resolve. Not through force or struggle or trying harder. Through natural unfolding of the new programming, my body responded to the new belief just as it had responded to the old one. The only difference was the content of the belief itself. I share this personal story because I want you to understand several things. First, These loops can affect anyone, regardless of knowledge or experience or spiritual development. It doesn't matter how much you know about the subconscious mind. If you have a belief running counter to what you consciously desire, that belief will create results that match it. Second, awareness alone doesn't break the loop. I had to not just become aware of the belief, but actively reprogram it with new truth. And third, when you do reprogram successfully, the change happens naturally, not through force. My body healed because the belief that was creating the illness was replaced with a belief that supported health. Let me tell you one more story before we move into the deeper teaching about the mechanics of the subconscious. A woman came to me who had discovered something that both disturbed and fascinated her. She had been examining her life and realized she was in a financial struggle. Nothing dramatic, just a constant stress about money, a feeling of never having quite enough, of always being worried about bills and expenses. And she mentioned this to her mother during a phone call, and her mother said something like, "Well, you know, money has always been tight in our family, that's just how it is for us." And something clicked for this woman. She asked her mother, "Was it tight for Grandma too?" And her mother said, "Oh yes, your grandmother worried about money her entire life, never had enough. Always stressed about it." And this woman began to investigate. She talked to relatives. She looked at family history. And she discovered that this pattern of financial struggle, this ceiling on wealth, this constant stress about money, had existed in her family for at least 3 generations that she could trace. Her great-grandmother had struggled. Her grandmother had struggled in exactly the same way. Her mother was struggling, and now she was struggling. And she saw that her daughter, who was now a teenager, was already starting to show the same patterns, already talking about money the same way, already exhibiting the same scarcity thinking. It wasn't genetic. There was no DNA of poverty. It was mimetic. The beliefs had been passed down like family heirlooms. Each generation observed the previous generation's relationship with money, absorbed their beliefs, learned their patterns, and unconsciously recreated the same reality. The grandmother's belief that there's never enough became the mother's belief, became her belief, and was now being transmitted to her daughter, not through explicit teaching but through observation, through emotional transmission, through the automatic process of how children absorb their parents' worldview. And this woman made a decision in that moment. She said to me, "This stops with me. I am going to be the one who breaks this generational loop. My daughter will not inherit this struggle. I'm going to do whatever it takes to reprogram my own subconscious and consciously teach my daughter different beliefs about money and abundance." And she did the work. She identified the specific beliefs that had been passed down through her family line. Beliefs like money is hard to come by, you have to struggle to survive, there's never quite enough, if you have money someone else doesn't and that's wrong, wealthy people are greedy or lucky or they cheated, people like us don't have money, and on and on. She identified each of these beliefs, examined where they came from, and consciously chose to reject them and replace them with new beliefs. She impressed upon her subconscious new truths. Money flows easily and naturally to me. I am worthy of financial abundance. There is more than enough for everyone. Wealth can be created without taking from others. I can be both prosperous and generous. My prosperity helps my family and allows me to give to others. Financial ease is my natural state. And she didn't just repeat these beliefs to herself. She actively, consciously taught them to her daughter. She talked about money differently in front of her. She made different choices. She changed the entire family narrative about wealth and abundance. And 2 years later, when I saw her again, the transformation was remarkable. Not only had her own financial situation stabilized and grown, not only was she no longer living with constant money stress, but her daughter had absorbed the new beliefs. Her daughter talked about money with confidence and possibility rather than fear and limitation. The generational loop had been broken. The pattern that had affected at least 4 generations ended with her decision to reprogram her subconscious and consciously create a new legacy. This is what's possible when you understand the subconscious loop, my friend. You don't just change your own life. You can break patterns that have affected your family for generations. You can be the one who stops the cycle. You can be the one who rewrites the story for everyone who comes after you. This is the power we're talking about. This is the level of transformation that's available to you. Now you've seen the loop in action through these real experiences. You've felt how it works. You've recognized the patterns. And perhaps you've seen glimpses of your own loops in these stories. Perhaps you've felt that moment of recognition where you think, oh, that's me, that's what I've been doing, that's the pattern I've been living. And if you have, that's good. That recognition is the first step. Because you cannot change what you cannot see. Awareness must come before transformation. Now let me explain exactly what's happening in your mind at the mechanical level. Let me show you the precise mechanism through which your subconscious creates your reality and, more importantly, how to change it. You have two minds, not two physical brains, but two distinct functions of consciousness working together to create your experience of life. The conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and understanding the relationship between these two minds is absolutely critical to understanding why your reality keeps repeating and how to change it. Think of the conscious mind as the captain of a ship, and the subconscious as the crew. The captain stands on the bridge, looks out at the sea, makes decisions about where to go, chooses the direction. The captain reasons, analyzes, plans. But the captain doesn't actually run the ship, the crew does that. The crew operates the engines, adjusts the sails, maintains the equipment, does all the actual work of moving the ship through the water. And here's the critical thing to understand. The crew doesn't question the captain's orders. The crew doesn't debate or argue or second guess. The crew simply follows the instructions given by the captain, faithfully and automatically. Your conscious mind is what you're using right now to listen to me, to think about what I'm saying, to analyze and question and reason. This is the mind that sets goals, makes plans, chooses actions. This is the mind you experience as you. When you think about yourself, when you make decisions, when you contemplate your life, you're operating from the conscious mind, and the conscious mind is important. It's the reasoning mind, the choosing mind, the directing mind. But here's what most people don't realize, and this is absolutely crucial to understand. Your conscious mind only controls about 5% of your daily behavior. Only 5%. Think about that for a moment. That means 95% of what you do each day, 95% of your thoughts, feelings, and actions is controlled by your subconscious mind, operating automatically beneath your conscious awareness. You think you're in control? You think you're consciously choosing your life? But the truth is, the vast majority of your behavior is automatic, subconscious, programmed. Your subconscious mind is what makes your heart beat without you having to think about it. It's what makes your lungs breathe while you sleep. It's what digests your food, regulates your body temperature, heals your wounds. It's what allows you to drive a car while talking to a passenger following a complex route without consciously thinking about every turn, every brake, every acceleration. It's what stores your memories, all of your memories, even ones you can't consciously recall. It's what runs your habits, the thousands of automatic behaviors you perform each day without conscious thought. And most importantly for our purposes, it's what holds your beliefs. And it's these beliefs in your subconscious, these deep programs installed mostly in childhood, that create your reality, not your conscious thoughts, not your conscious desires or goals or plans. Your subconscious beliefs. Because the subconscious is what's actually running the show, what's creating your automatic thoughts, what's driving your emotional responses, what's guiding your behavior, what's attracting your experiences. And if your conscious mind wants one thing but your subconscious believes another, the subconscious wins, always. Now, here's the key principle that changes everything, and I want you to really absorb this because this is the foundation of everything that follows. Your subconscious mind accepts whatever your conscious mind impresses upon it with sufficient feeling and repetition. It doesn't reason about it. It doesn't judge whether it's true or false, good or bad, helpful or harmful. It doesn't reject or argue or debate. It simply accepts and creates. It's completely neutral, completely impersonal, completely mechanical. Think of your subconscious as soil. You can plant flowers in soil, and the soil will grow flowers. You can plant weeds, and the soil will grow weeds. You can even plant poison and the soil will grow poison. The soil doesn't care. It doesn't have preferences. It doesn't say, oh, you planted weeds, but I think I'll grow flowers instead because that would be better for you. No, the soil simply grows whatever seed it receives. That's its nature. That's its function. Your subconscious is exactly the same way. If you impress upon it beliefs of abundance, through feeling and repetition, it creates abundant experiences in your life. It guides you toward opportunities. It helps you notice possibilities. It creates what we call luck or synchronicity. If you impress upon it beliefs of lack, it creates experiences of scarcity. It guides you away from opportunities, it makes you miss possibilities, it creates what we call bad luck or obstacle. If you impress upon it beliefs of worthiness and self-love, you attract loving relationships, respect from others, opportunities that honor your value. If you impress upon it beliefs of unworthiness or not enoughness, you attract rejection, disrespect, situations that confirm your lack of value. It's mechanical, it's lawful, it's completely impersonal. This is why I can tell you with absolute certainty that these principles work for everyone. Your subconscious doesn't care about your history, it doesn't care about your past failures or mistakes, it doesn't care about your age or education or background or where you were born or what advantages or disadvantages you've had. It simply creates based on the beliefs impressed upon it right now, in this present moment. Give it new beliefs, and it will create new results. It's that direct, it's that reliable, it's that democratic. This is the most democratic power in the entire universe. It plays no favorites, it doesn't work better for some people than others. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor, young or old, educated or uneducated. It works the same way for everyone who understands and applies the principle, and this should give you tremendous hope. Because it means that no matter what your past has been, no matter how stuck you feel right now, no matter how many times you've failed or struggled, you can change your reality by changing the beliefs impressed upon your subconscious mind. But here's what you need to understand about how these beliefs got into your subconscious in the first place. Because you didn't consciously choose most of them. You didn't sit down as a child and say, I think I'll believe that money is scarce, or I'm not good enough, or love hurts. These beliefs were impressed upon you, mostly before you even had the capacity for critical thinking. From birth until about age 7, your mind is in what scientists and researchers call a hypnagogic state, or what's sometimes called the theta brainwave state. It's the same state adults enter in deep meditation or hypnosis, or in those drowsy moments just before falling asleep. In this state, your critical thinking filter hasn't developed yet. There's no gatekeeper saying, wait, let me analyze this before I accept it as truth. Everything just goes straight in. You're like a sponge, absorbing everything around you without question, without filter, without the ability to reject or reason about what you're receiving. Everything your parents say, not just to you but around you, goes into your subconscious as truth. Everything your teachers tell you becomes part of your programming. Everything you observe in your environment, every argument you witness, every expression of stress or fear or joy or love, everything is being recorded and interpreted by your child mind. And these recordings become your beliefs about how life works, what you can expect, what's possible for you, who you are, and what you deserve. And this isn't just what people told you directly, like if you don't work hard you won't succeed, or money doesn't grow on trees, or stop crying or you'll never amount to anything. It's deeper than that. It's what you observed and the conclusions you drew on your own. If you grew up in a home where your parents constantly fought about money, where there was always stress and tension around finances, where you heard them say things like we can't afford that, or money doesn't come easy, or there's never enough, you didn't just hear those words. You felt their fear. You absorbed their stress. You experienced their tension. And your child mind made conclusions. Money is scary. Money causes problems. There's never enough. Financial security doesn't exist for people like us. It's dangerous to want more because wanting creates suffering. These conclusions became beliefs. And these beliefs were impressed upon your subconscious with tremendous emotional intensity, not through repetition of words, but through repeated emotional experience. And once they were impressed, they became your operating instructions for life. They became the lens through which you see money, the filter through which you experience financial situations, and the mechanism through which you create your financial reality. If you grew up watching a parent sacrifice their dreams for the family, never pursuing what made them happy, always putting everyone else first, always last on the list of priorities, you learned a belief. You didn't learn it through a lecture. You learned it through observation. Your needs don't matter as much as others' needs. Self-sacrifice equals love. Putting yourself first is selfish or wrong. Good people suffer for others. Your dreams are less important than your duty. And this belief has been running your life ever since, causing you to abandon your own desires, ignore your own needs, put everyone else before yourself, and then wonder why you feel so empty, so resentful, so unfulfilled. If you experienced a significant trauma, a rejection, a failure, an abandonment in childhood, your young mind interpreted it and drew conclusions. And those conclusions became core beliefs about yourself and the world. If your father left when you were young, you might have concluded I wasn't good enough to make him stay, or people you love leave, or men can't be trusted, or I must be unlovable if even my father didn't want to be with me. If you were bullied at school, you might have concluded I'm not safe in groups, or there's something wrong with me, or I need to hide who I really am to be accepted, or people will hurt me if I show my true self. These are not rational conclusions. A therapist or wise adult could have told you that your father's leaving had nothing to do with you, that it was about his own issues and limitations. They could have told you that the bullies were dealing with their own pain and insecurity. But you were a child. You didn't have that perspective. You made the best sense of the situation you could with the limited understanding available to you, and your subconscious accepted your interpretation as absolute truth. And once accepted, these beliefs became permanent programming unless and until they're deliberately changed. Your subconscious doesn't automatically update. It doesn't say, well, you're an adult now, so let's revise those childhood beliefs based on your mature understanding. No, the beliefs stay exactly as they were recorded, continuing to create your reality year after year, decade after decade, unless you consciously choose to reprogram them. Now let me explain the exact mechanism of how these beliefs create your repeating reality. This is the loop itself, and once you see this clearly, you'll understand why the same patterns keep showing up in your life no matter how hard you try to change them. It starts with the belief in your subconscious. Let's say the belief is, I'm not good enough. This belief sits in your subconscious, invisible to your conscious mind, running automatically in the background like a computer program you're not aware of. And this belief creates automatic thoughts. You're not sitting there consciously thinking, let me think some not good enough thoughts now. No. The thoughts arise automatically, spontaneously, seemingly out of nowhere. Thoughts like, I probably can't do this, they're better than me, I'll probably fail, I don't have what it takes, who am I to try this, I'm going to embarrass myself. These thoughts are generated automatically by the subconscious belief. And these automatic thoughts create feelings. The thought I'm not good enough creates feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, fear, insecurity. Your body responds to the thought with stress chemicals, with tension, with the entire physiological response of feeling threatened or unsafe, and these feelings drive your actions. When you feel anxious and inadequate and fearful, how do you behave? You hesitate, you hold back, you don't fully commit, you don't show up at your best, you sabotage yourself, not consciously but automatically. You might procrastinate, make excuses, not try as hard as you could, give up prematurely, or not even attempt things in the first place. And these actions, driven by the feelings, driven by the thoughts, driven by the original belief, produce results. You don't get the promotion, the relationship doesn't work, the business fails, you don't achieve what you wanted, and these results do something critical. They confirm the original belief. Your conscious mind looks at these results and says, see, I knew I wasn't good enough, I was right. This proves it. And the belief gets stronger, the neural pathway gets deeper. The pattern becomes more entrenched, and the loop continues. Next time a similar situation arises, the same belief creates the same automatic thoughts, which create the same feelings, which drive the same actions, which produce the same results, which further confirm the belief. Round and round it goes, creating the same reality over and over and over again. Each repetition of the loop makes it stronger. Each confirmation makes it feel more like truth, more like reality, more like just the way things are for me. And here's the insidious part. Your conscious mind, seeing these results repeatedly, creates logical explanations that seem to have nothing to do with the subconscious belief. You think, I'm not successful because the economy is bad, or my boss doesn't like me, or I didn't have the right advantages growing up, or I'm not as smart as other people, or I'm just unlucky. And all of these explanations protect the original belief from being questioned. They maintain the loop by directing your attention away from the real cause. This is why willpower doesn't work to break the loop. Willpower is your conscious mind, which controls 5% of your behavior, trying to override your subconscious mind, which controls 95%. You're using the smaller part of your mind to fight against the larger part. And you might win occasionally, you might have moments of success through sheer force of will. But it's exhausting, it's not sustainable, and eventually, the subconscious will reassert its programming, the pattern will return. You'll end up back where you started, maybe even more discouraged than before because you thought you'd broken through only to find yourself back in the same place. This is also why surface-level positive thinking often fails. Most people repeat affirmations with their conscious mind while their subconscious holds the opposite belief. You're saying I am wealthy and abundant while your subconscious is running a program that says no you're not, you've never been, you never will be. Money is hard to come by, people like you don't have money. And guess which one wins? The subconscious, always. Because the affirmation is happening at the conscious level, which is 5%, while the opposing belief is operating at the subconscious level, which is 95%. It's not a fair fight. This is why people get frustrated with affirmations. They repeat them dutifully, sometimes for months, and nothing changes. And they conclude that this stuff doesn't work, that it's just positive thinking nonsense. But the problem isn't with the principle. The problem is that the affirmation never reached the subconscious. It stayed at the conscious level, having no impact on the actual beliefs that are creating their reality. So the solution, the real solution that actually works, is not to work harder or think more positively or use more willpower. The solution is to reprogram the subconscious mind itself, to impress new beliefs at the level where beliefs actually operate and create reality, to change the programming so that the automatic thoughts, feelings, and actions that arise are aligned with what you consciously desire rather than opposed to it. And there are 3 primary gateways through which you can access your subconscious and impress new beliefs upon it. 3 ways to bypass the critical factor of the conscious mind and speak directly to the subconscious. Understanding these 3 gateways is absolutely critical, because this is how you actually create change at the level that matters. The first gateway is repetition with feeling. Your subconscious learns through repetition. This is how you learned language as a child. You heard words repeated over and over until they became automatic, until you didn't have to think about them anymore, until they were just part of you. You didn't reason your way into language. You didn't analyze grammar and syntax. You absorbed it through sheer repetition. The same principle applies to beliefs. If you repeat a new belief with feeling and conviction, over and over, consistently, patiently, eventually, it impresses itself upon the subconscious and becomes automatic. But here's the key that most people miss. It must be repetition with feeling, not mechanical parroting of words. Words alone don't impress the subconscious. Emotion is the language of the subconscious. Feeling is what makes the impression deep. So when you repeat your new belief, you must feel it as if it's already true. You must embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If your new belief is I am confident and capable, you can't just say the words mechanically like a robot. You must feel confident as you say it. You must imagine what confidence feels like in your body, how you would carry yourself, how you would speak, how you would move through the world, and you must feel that feeling as you repeat the statement. This combination of repetition and feeling, practiced consistently over time, will eventually reach your subconscious and impress the new belief. It's not instant. It takes patience and persistence, but it works. It's the method that has worked for millions of people throughout history, and it will work for you if you apply it correctly. The second gateway is emotional intensity. Highly emotional experiences bypass the conscious filter entirely and go straight into the subconscious. This is why trauma creates instant, deep imprints that can last a lifetime. The emotional intensity of the traumatic event is so strong that it overwhelms the conscious mind's defenses and impresses the subconscious immediately, creating beliefs like, I'm not safe, the world is dangerous, people can't be trusted. These beliefs form instantly, in a single moment, because of the extreme emotional intensity. But this gateway works for positive experiences too. Peak experiences of joy, love, success, or spiritual connection can create instant positive imprints. If you've ever had a moment of profound insight or deep spiritual experience or overwhelming love, you know that these moments change you immediately. You don't need to repeat them 1,000 times. The single experience, because of its emotional intensity, impresses your subconscious powerfully. You can actually use this gateway deliberately by creating emotionally intense experiences of your desired reality in your imagination. When you visualize your goal, your dream, your desired state, don't do it casually or half-heartedly. Do it with tremendous emotional intensity. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the excitement, the love as if it's happening right now. The more emotionally intense your inner experience, the more powerfully it impresses your subconscious. The third gateway, and this is the one I want you to pay special attention to because it's the most accessible and practical for daily use, is the relaxed or drowsy state. Your subconscious is most accessible when your conscious mind is quiet, when the critical filter weakens, when you enter those borderlands between waking and sleeping. Just before you fall asleep at night, and just after you wake up in the morning, your brainwaves shift into the same theta state that children are in constantly. The gatekeeper relaxes, the defenses lower, and suggestions can reach your subconscious directly without resistance. This is why these times are so powerful and sacred for reprogramming work. When you impress a belief upon your subconscious in this drowsy state, when you speak to your subconscious as it's drifting towards sleep or emerging from sleep, that belief sinks in deeply, directly, without the conscious mind arguing or doubting or rejecting it. This is the secret that mystics and spiritual teachers have known for thousands of years. The moments before sleep and after waking are when you can most easily reshape your subconscious programming. Deep relaxation, meditation, and prayer create similar states. When you quiet your conscious mind through these practices, you create access to your subconscious. This is why meditation isn't just about relaxation or stress relief. It's about creating the state in which transformation can happen. It's about opening the gateway to the subconscious so that new truths can be impressed. Understanding these three gateways changes everything, because now you know not just that you need to change your subconscious beliefs, but exactly how to do it. You use repetition with feeling through consistent daily practice. You use emotional intensity by imagining your desires with powerful emotion. And most importantly, you use the drowsy state before sleep and after waking, when your subconscious is most receptive, to impress new beliefs deeply and directly. Now, how do you identify your specific loops? How do you know which beliefs are running your show, creating your repeating patterns? This is simpler than you might think, but it requires honesty and willingness to look at your life objectively. The answer is simple. Look at what keeps repeating in your life. Your external reality is a perfect mirror of your internal beliefs. Whatever patterns keep showing up in your outer world, there's a corresponding belief creating them in your inner world. If you keep having the same type of relationship problems, the same dynamics, the same painful patterns regardless of who the partner is, there's a belief about love or relationships or your own worthiness creating that pattern. If you keep hitting the same financial ceiling, if money comes and goes but you can never move past a certain level, there's a belief about money or deserving or safety creating that limitation. If you keep experiencing the same health issues, if your body keeps manifesting the same kinds of problems, there's a belief about your body or safety or deservingness creating those conditions. If you keep encountering the same career blocks, the same obstacles to advancement, the same feeling of being stuck or unrecognized, there's a belief about success or capability or worthiness creating those barriers. The pattern in your outer life is the clue to the belief in your inner life. And here's a powerful question to ask yourself when you identify a pattern. What would I have to believe to keep creating this result? If my relationships keep ending in betrayal, what would I have to believe? Maybe I'm not trustworthy deep down, so I attract people who mirror that back. Maybe I believe everyone eventually betrays you, so I create situations that confirm it. Maybe I believe I don't deserve loyalty, so I unconsciously push people to prove it. If my money keeps disappearing no matter how much I make, what would I have to believe? Maybe I don't deserve financial security. Maybe money is somehow wrong or evil and I need to get rid of it. Maybe having money while others struggle is shameful. The belief might not be obvious at first. It might be hidden beneath layers of other thoughts and justifications. But if you ask the question honestly and listen for the answer, if you get quiet and allow your deeper knowing to surface, the belief will reveal itself. Often, it will surprise you. You'll think, I didn't know I believed that. But once you see it, once you bring it into conscious awareness, you'll recognize how it's been operating all along. And here's something important to understand. You'll often find multiple loops running simultaneously in different areas of your life. You might have one set of beliefs creating your financial reality, another set creating your relationship patterns, another affecting your health, another influencing your career. Each loop has its own origin, its own childhood imprint or formative experience. Each one needs to be identified and reprogrammed. But don't feel overwhelmed by this. You don't have to work on everything at once. Choose one area, one pattern, one loop that feels most pressing or painful or limiting. Focus your reprogramming work there first. Once you break one loop, once you see that this actually works, you'll have the confidence and understanding to address the others. Now let me address something that comes up for almost everyone when we talk about changing these patterns. The loop feels like you. It's been running for so long, it's been creating your reality for so many years that you've come to identify with it. You say things like, I'm just not good with money, or I'm just an anxious person, or I'm just unlucky in love, or I'm just not the successful type. And these statements feel true. They feel like descriptions of who you are at your core. But they're not. They're descriptions of the programming you're running. There's a huge difference. You are not the loop. You are not the beliefs. You are not the programming. Your true nature, your essential self, is infinite possibility, unlimited potential, pure creative consciousness. You are the awareness that can observe the loop and choose to change it. You are the captain, not the programmed behavior of the crew. The loop is like an application running on your phone. It's software, not hardware. It's not the phone itself. You can delete the app without deleting the phone. You can change the program without destroying yourself. In fact, you must change the program if you want to express your true self, because the current program is limiting and distorting who you really are. But I understand the fear that arises when we talk about changing these deep patterns. There's a fear that says, if I'm not this anxious, struggling, limited person, then who am I? If I let go of these familiar patterns, even though they're painful, what's left? It's like asking, if I'm not the character I've been playing, then what's my role? And the answer is, you become yourself. Your true self. Not the programmed version, but the authentic, unlimited version that's been waiting beneath the programming all along. And here's what's beautiful about this. You're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. The program patterns were never you to begin with. They were just beliefs you absorbed, conclusions you drew, recordings you made based on limited childhood understanding. Letting them go doesn't erase you. It reveals you. The real you that's been hidden beneath the programming your entire life. Now let me give you the specific, practical techniques that will reprogram your subconscious mind and break the loop forever. These are not complicated. They're simple. But simple doesn't mean easy, and it doesn't mean instant. The old loop has momentum. It has years or decades of repetition behind it. It has created deep neural pathways, strong patterns, familiar grooves. Your subconscious will resist change at first because change, even positive change, feels unsafe to the subconscious. The known, even if painful, feels safer than the unknown. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. It's better to practice these techniques for 5 or 10 minutes every single day than to have one dramatic session for an hour and then do nothing for a week. The subconscious learns through steady, repeated impression, not through intense but sporadic effort. Think of it like watering a plant. A little bit of water every day will make the plant thrive. Dumping a gallon of water on it once a week will just flood it and possibly kill it. Steady, consistent, patient application is what creates lasting change. The first and most important practice is the evening reprogramming ritual, and this should become absolutely non-negotiable in your life. Every single evening, before you go to sleep, you're going to use the gateway of the drowsy state to impress new beliefs upon your subconscious. Here's exactly how to do it. Sit or lie down comfortably somewhere you won't be disturbed. This could be in your bed, in a comfortable chair, anywhere that allows you to relax completely. Close your eyes. Take several slow, deep breaths. As you breathe out, imagine tension draining from your body. Feel your muscles relaxing, starting with your feet and moving up through your legs, your torso, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your face. Let your body become heavy, loose, completely at ease. Don't force this. Don't strain. Just breathe and allow the relaxation to happen naturally. As your body relaxes, your mind will begin to quiet. Thoughts will still arise, and that's fine. Don't fight them. Just let them pass like clouds in the sky. You're not trying to achieve some perfect meditative state. You're simply creating a relaxed, receptive condition where your conscious mind releases its tight control and your subconscious becomes accessible. When you feel deeply relaxed, when your body is heavy and your mind is quiet and drowsy, this is the moment. This is when your subconscious is listening. Now, you're going to state your new belief as present fact, not as future hope, not as something you want or wish for, as something that is already true right now. This is critical. Your subconscious doesn't respond to future tense. It responds to present tense statements that feel real right now. So instead of saying I want to be confident, or I will be confident someday, or I hope to become confident, you say I am confident and capable right now. Instead of saying I want money or I wish I had abundance, you say money flows to me easily and naturally, I am prosperous and financially secure. Instead of saying I hope to find love, you say I am loved and cherished, I am in a beautiful relationship that nourishes me. Present tense, definite, real. And as you say this, you must feel it. This is where most people fail with affirmations. They repeat words mechanically, with no feeling, no imagination, no embodiment, and then they wonder why nothing changes. The words alone don't matter. The feeling is what impresses the subconscious. So when you state your new belief, you must simultaneously imagine what it feels like to live this belief. What would confidence feel like in your body? How would you breathe? How would you stand? How would you move if you were truly confident? Feel that right now. Don't wait for the external world to make you feel it. Generate the feeling from within, right now in this moment. What would financial abundance feel like? That sense of security, of ease, of freedom, of having more than enough? Feel it. What would it feel like to be loved deeply and unconditionally? That warmth, that safety, that sense of being seen and valued? Feel it now. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. If you create the feeling state strongly enough in your imagination, your subconscious accepts it as real and begins to create external experiences that match it. Repeat your statement slowly, with feeling, with conviction, 3 to 5 times, not quickly, not mechanically. Each repetition should be felt deeply, savored, embodied. Let the words and the feeling merge into one complete experience, and then release it. Don't grab onto it. Don't worry about whether it's working. Don't analyze or doubt or question. Just let it go, like a seed planted in soil. Trust that it's sinking into your subconscious mind, being absorbed, being accepted, and then fall asleep. Let the last thing in your consciousness be this feeling, this belief, this reality you're impressing upon your subconscious. As you drift into sleep, your subconscious continues to work on this impression, deepening it, accepting it, beginning to reorganize your reality around it. This is why the moments before sleep are so sacred and powerful. You're literally programming your subconscious with the last impression it receives before entering the sleep state. Do this every single night without exception for at least 30 days. I don't care how tired you are, how busy your day was, how late it is. Make this non-negotiable. Because your subconscious needs consistency, it needs repetition. One night doesn't create lasting change. 3 nights don't do it. But 30 nights, 60 nights, 90 nights of consistent impression, and that new belief will root itself so deeply in your subconscious that it becomes automatic. And when it becomes automatic, your external reality begins to shift to match it. Not through force, not through struggle, but through the natural outworking of the new programming. The second practice is what I call the pattern interrupt technique, and this is something you do throughout your day whenever you notice the old loop showing up. Throughout your day, you're going to become aware of when the old pattern arises. You'll recognize it by the familiar thought, the familiar feeling, the familiar impulse or behavior. Maybe it's the thought I can't do this when faced with a challenge. Maybe it's the feeling of anxiety in a social situation. Maybe it's the urge to spend money you don't have, or to withdraw emotionally from your partner, or to sabotage yourself just when things are going well. Whatever your particular loop is, whatever form it takes, you'll start to recognize it. And the moment you notice it, the instant you become aware that the old pattern is running, pause, take a conscious breath. Create a little space between the trigger and your response, and say to yourself silently or out loud, "This is the old loop, not reality." Name it specifically. This is my not good enough loop. This is my scarcity loop. This is my fear of rejection loop. This is my self-sabotage loop. By naming it, you create psychological distance from it. You're observing it rather than being consumed by it. You're recognizing that this is a pattern, a program, not the truth of who you are or what's actually happening. This simple act of naming and recognizing begins to weaken the loop's power over you. And then, consciously choose a different response, even a small one, even a symbolic one. You don't have to completely override the pattern. You're not trying to fight it with willpower. You're simply choosing differently in this moment. If the loop says don't try, don't speak up, don't take the risk, choose to try anyway in some small way. Raise your hand in the meeting. Send the email. Make the phone call. Take one small action that contradicts the old pattern. If the loop says withdraw, isolate yourself, push people away, choose to reach out instead. Send a text. Make plans. Stay present even though every fiber of your being wants to retreat. If the loop says spend the money impulsively, choose to wait 24 hours. If the loop says eat the whole box of cookies to numb your feelings, choose to sit with the feelings for 5 minutes first. You're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to never have the old impulse arise. You're simply creating a new choice, a new pathway, a new possibility. And each time you make this new choice, even in a small way, you're weakening the old neural pathway and strengthening a new one. You're teaching your subconscious that there are other options, other ways of responding, other possibilities beyond the familiar pattern. At first, the old pathway is like a deep groove, a well-worn road that your mind travels automatically. The new pathway is just a faint trail, barely visible. But with repetition, with each new choice, the new pathway gets a little clearer, a little stronger, a little more established, and the old pathway, lacking reinforcement, begins to fade. Eventually, if you keep choosing the new way, the new pathway becomes the automatic route, and the old one becomes the faint trail that you no longer travel. This takes time. This takes patience. The old pattern has years or decades of momentum behind it. You're not going to override it in a day or a week. But you will override it if you keep making the new choice, if you keep interrupting the old pattern, if you keep creating new responses. It's inevitable. It's how the brain works. New patterns replace old patterns through repetition and conscious choice. The third practice is the morning impression technique, and this is the bookend to your evening practice. Just as the moments before sleep are powerful for programming your subconscious, so are the first moments after waking. When you first wake up, before you fully return to normal consciousness, you're in that same theta state, that same receptive condition where your subconscious is accessible. So the very first thing you do when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you start your to-do list, before you even get out of bed is this. While you're still drowsy and relaxed, state your intention for the day. Not your tasks or appointments. Your way of being. How you want to show up. What energy you want to embody. Today I move through life with confidence and ease. Today abundance flows through me in expected and unexpected ways. Today I am open to love and connection. Today I handle challenges with wisdom and grace. Today I trust myself and the universe. Whatever statement aligns with your desired reality, state it clearly while you're in this receptive morning state. And again, feel it. Don't just say words. Feel what it would be like to move through your day this way. What would confidence feel like? What would ease feel like? What would trust feel like? Generate that feeling right now, before your day begins. Let it fill your body, and then carry that feeling into your first activities. This morning impression sets the tone for your entire day. It programs your subconscious with an intention, a direction, a quality of consciousness that will influence everything that follows. What you impress in the morning, you express throughout the day. It's like tuning an instrument before playing it. You're tuning your consciousness to a specific frequency before engaging with the world. Make this non-negotiable. Before your day officially begins, before the world makes its demands on you, take 2 or 3 minutes to program your mind with how you want to show up. This simple practice, combined with the evening practice, creates a powerful container for transformation. You're impressing your subconscious twice daily, at the 2 most receptive times, with the reality you're choosing to create. The fourth practice is evidence collection, and this trains your subconscious to notice proof that your new beliefs are becoming real. Each evening, either in a journal or just mentally, identify 3 pieces of evidence from your day that your new belief is manifesting. This is absolutely crucial because your subconscious learns through confirmation and reinforcement. Here's what happens with the old belief. Your subconscious has been filtering your experience to find evidence that confirms it. If your old belief is "I'm not enough," Your subconscious has been scanning your day, every day, for moments that prove you're not enough. Someone didn't return your call? Proof you're not enough. You made a mistake at work? Proof you're not enough. Someone else got the recognition? Proof you're not enough. Your subconscious has been collecting evidence that confirms the old belief, which strengthens the old belief, which makes it find even more evidence. It's a self-reinforcing loop, but you can deliberately redirect this mechanism. You can train your subconscious to look for evidence of your new belief instead. And the evidence doesn't have to be huge or dramatic. In fact, at first it will be small. But small evidence still counts. Someone complimented you? That's evidence of your worthiness. You handled a challenge well? That's evidence of your capability. You found $20 you forgot about? That's evidence of abundance. You felt peaceful for an hour? That's evidence of your emotional well-being. Write down or mentally acknowledge 3 pieces of evidence every single evening. I am worthy of love, and today's evidence is, someone smiled at me warmly, I felt comfortable being myself with a friend, I spoke up for what I needed, I am financially abundant, and today's evidence is, I found a good deal, someone paid me back money I'd forgotten about, I felt secure rather than anxious about my finances. This practice does something powerful. It trains your subconscious to notice what's working, what's improving, what's confirming the new belief, and what you notice grows. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and your reality follows. Your subconscious will start automatically scanning for evidence of the new belief instead of the old one. And as it does, you'll notice more and more confirmation. Your reality will literally shift as your perception shifts, because perception and reality are intimately connected. Within weeks of consistent evidence collection, you'll be amazed at how much your experience has changed, not because the world suddenly became different, but because you're noticing different aspects of the world. You're filtering your experience through the new belief instead of the old one. And this reinforces the new belief, which makes it stronger, which makes your subconscious create even more experiences that confirm it. It's the same self-reinforcing loop, but now it's working in your favor. The 5th and final practice is gratitude in advance, and this is perhaps the most powerful technique I can give you. Every evening before sleep, in that same drowsy state where you're doing your reprogramming work, express gratitude for what you desire as if it's already manifest. This is not about being grateful for what you currently have, though that's also valuable. This is about being grateful for the reality you're creating, speaking of it in present tense as if it already exists. Instead of I hope to be healthy someday, you say thank you for my vibrant health, thank you for my strong body, thank you for the energy and vitality that flows through me. Feel the gratitude as if your health is already perfect. Instead of I want a loving relationship, you say thank you for my beautiful relationship, thank you for the love I share with my partner, thank you for the connection and intimacy we enjoy. Feel the gratitude as if the relationship already exists. Why does this work? Because your subconscious mind does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual physical experience. If you imagine something with sufficient detail, emotion, and sensory richness, your subconscious accepts it as real. And gratitude is one of the strongest signals you can send to your subconscious that something is already yours. Gratitude implies possession. You can't be truly grateful for something you don't have. So when you express gratitude for your desired reality, you're telling your subconscious, this is already mine, this already exists, I already have this. And your subconscious, accepting this as truth, begins to reorganize your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to match this new reality. It guides you toward opportunities that confirm it. It helps you notice possibilities you would have missed. It creates what we call synchronicities or luck or being in the right place at the right time. But it's not luck. It's your subconscious faithfully creating the reality that matches the belief you've impressed upon it through gratitude. Spend 2 or 3 minutes before sleep feeling deep gratitude for your desires as if they're already fulfilled. Thank you for my abundant income. Thank you for my perfect health. Thank you for my loving relationships. Thank you for my successful career. Thank you for my peace of mind. Thank you for my confidence. Whatever you're working to create, thank your subconscious and thank the universe for it as if it already exists. Feel the emotion of gratitude deeply. Let it fill your body, and then release it and fall asleep in that state of grateful acknowledgement. This practice combines all 3 gateways. It uses the drowsy state for access to the subconscious. It uses emotion, specifically the powerful emotion of gratitude, to make the impression deep, and if done consistently every night, it uses repetition to make the belief permanent. This single practice, done with dedication and feeling, can transform your entire life. Now, I want to address something important about these practices. You will resist them. Your old patterns will fight back. You'll forget to do them. You'll feel silly or awkward. You'll doubt whether they're working. You'll get busy and skip a night, then skip another, then stop altogether for a while. This is completely normal. This is the old loop trying to maintain itself, trying to convince you that change isn't possible, that this won't work, that you should give up. Every time this happens, and it will happen, simply begin again. No judgment, no self-criticism, no story about how you failed or you're not disciplined enough or this proves you can't change. Just begin again. Today, right now, this very evening, the power is always in the present moment, in the choice you make right now. Your past efforts don't matter. What matters is whether you choose to practice tonight, to impress your subconscious tonight, to plant a seed tonight. And don't look for instant results. Don't check every day to see if your life has magically transformed. Your subconscious is like a garden. You plant seeds, you water them consistently, and then you wait. You trust the process. You know that beneath the surface, invisible to your conscious mind, changes are happening. Roots are growing. Structure is forming. And eventually, in its own time, the plant breaks through the surface and you see the results. Some people see changes within days of starting these practices. They notice their thoughts shifting, their feelings changing, new opportunities appearing. For others, it takes weeks or months. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is that you remain consistent with the practices, that you keep impressing the new beliefs upon your subconscious, and that you trust the process. The law is always working. Your subconscious is always creating. Give it new instructions through these practices, and it will create new results. It's inevitable. It's how the mind works. My friend, let me bring all of this together for you now. Let me summarize what we've covered so that you can leave this conversation with complete clarity about what to do next. Your reality keeps repeating, not because you're unlucky, not because you're broken, not because you're being punished, not because God has forgotten you or the universe is against you. Your reality repeats because there is a loop, a recording, a program playing in your subconscious mind. That loop was created years ago, most likely in childhood, when your mind was wide open and accepted beliefs without question. Those beliefs came from your parents, your environment, your experiences, your observations, and once they were impressed upon your subconscious, they became your operating instructions for life. These beliefs create automatic thoughts. The thoughts create feelings. The feelings drive your actions. The actions produce results. And the results confirm the original beliefs, strengthening them, making the loop more powerful, creating the same reality over and over again. This is why your life feels stuck. This is why the same patterns keep showing up regardless of how hard you try to change them from the outside. But now you understand the mechanism. You see how the loop works. And more importantly, you know how to change it. Your subconscious mind is not your enemy. It's your faithful servant. It has been creating exactly what it was programmed to create. And the beautiful, liberating truth is this: you can reprogram it. You can impress new beliefs upon your subconscious mind through the 3 gateways of repetition with feeling, emotional intensity, and the relaxed state. You can use the 5 practices I've given you to deliberately and systematically change your subconscious programming. And once those new beliefs take root, once they become the dominant programming in your subconscious, they will create new automatic thoughts, new feelings, new actions, and new results. Your reality will shift not through force or struggle or trying harder, but through the natural outworking of the new programming. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. Spiritual law and mental law working together. And this law works for everyone who applies it, without exception. It doesn't matter what your past has been. It doesn't matter how long the old pattern has been running. It doesn't matter how stuck you feel right now or how many times you've tried and failed in the past. The moment you begin to reprogram your subconscious with new beliefs, the loop begins to weaken. The moment the new belief takes root, your reality begins to shift. The old future, the one that was going to be a repetition of your past, is no longer inevitable. A new future, based on new programming, becomes possible. So tonight, before you sleep, I want you to do this practice with me. I want you to commit to this, get comfortable, relax your body, quiet your mind, and when you're in that drowsy, receptive state, say this with me with feeling, with conviction. My subconscious mind is now accepting new beliefs of abundance, worthiness, and perfect health. The old loops are dissolving. The old patterns are releasing their hold on me. I am free from the programming of the past. I am free to create a new reality. I am worthy of every good thing I desire. I am capable of transforming my life. What I impress upon my subconscious with feeling and faith becomes my lived reality. My thoughts are creative. My beliefs are powerful. And I choose to believe in my unlimited potential. I choose to believe in abundance. I choose to believe in love. I choose to believe in my own worthiness and capability. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Say this with me now. Feel it in your body. Let it sink into your subconscious mind. Believe it. Know it. Embody it. And then release it and trust that your subconscious is accepting it, that the seed is being planted, that the change has already begun. If this message resonated with you, if you felt the truth of these principles, if something inside you recognized that this is the answer you've been looking for, I ask you to do 3 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel, because there is so much more wisdom to share with you. So many more teachings, so many more principles, so many more techniques that can deepen your understanding and accelerate your transformation. Don't let this be the end of our conversation. Let it be the beginning. Subscribe so that we can continue this journey together. Second, if this video helped you understand why your reality has been repeating, if it gave you clarity and hope and a practical path forward, give it a like. This helps other people who are trapped in their own loops find this message. Your like might be the thing that brings this teaching to someone who desperately needs it, someone whose life could be transformed by understanding these principles. So like this video not just for yourself but for them. And third, leave a comment below. Tell me, what loop have you recognized in your own life? What pattern keeps repeating? What insight did you gain from this teaching? Share your experience. Not just for me, but for the thousands of other people who will read the comments, who will see your words and realize they're not alone in their struggle, who will find courage in your honesty. The comments section becomes a community of transformation when people share authentically. So add your voice, tell your truth, ask your questions, share your journey. Remember, my friend, and I want you to really take this in, you are not your past. You are not your patterns. You are not the programming that's been running your life. You are the infinite creative power of the universe expressing through human form. You are consciousness itself, aware and awake and capable of choosing new beliefs and creating new realities. The loop ends the moment you decide to reprogram it. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, tonight, this very moment. Within you lies the power to change everything, the power to rewrite your story, the power to break generational patterns, the power to become who you were always meant to be before the programming obscured your true nature. That power is not outside you. It's not in a technique or a teacher or a program or a product. It's in you. It always has been. These teachings simply help you access it, direct it, use it deliberately. So go now with this knowledge. Go with this understanding. Go with these practices. Apply them consistently. Trust the process. Be patient with yourself, and know that your best reality is not behind you. It's not some distant future possibility. It's being created right now, in this very moment, by the beliefs you choose to hold in your subconscious mind. Until we meet again, I wish you perfect health in body, mind, and spirit. I wish you abundant prosperity that flows to you easily and naturally. I wish you loving relationships that nourish your soul. I wish you peace that surpasses understanding. And most of all, I wish you the awareness that you are the creative power behind your life, and that within you lies everything you need to transform your reality completely. Go in peace. Go with faith. Go with the deep knowing that your life is about to change because you now understand the subconscious loop and you now have the power to break it forever.